Yo, we just made $38,000 in this first week of November. About to walk you through how we did it, tips and tricks I learned along the way, and at the very end, I'm going to show you how you can prepare for the next week. November has been fucking awesome so far, especially coming from a difficult month last month. We're going to have some great opportunity, away from all-time highs, massive sell-off, so many good profit levels. I'm going to show you exactly what you should be doing. Take advantage of this month, guys. We finally have a decent market coming into us, but just to show you what's good, right? We made 15 or almost 16 bands on Monday. We made almost 11 bands on Tuesday, and again, almost 11 bands again yesterday, guys. All with shorts, all on shorts. Why do we only take shorts, right? Look at the market. This line marks when the week started. Look at the overall longer time frame. Market has been bearish as of recently. We started to see volume spike as we're starting to sell off. And you know the volume starts to spike as we're selling off. More interest in lower prices. Hence, we want to be aggressive when it comes to shorts. We kind of started last Friday as well, guys, when we had that massive like 50-point banger from the shorts. But, you know, we coming back from last month, a little difficult, $83,000 month. Month before that, $120,000 on this month, guys, with 2 red days. We've been on a hot streak again. August, after that tear-off sell-off happened, not August, October. Little difficult conditions. Market got super volatile, very hard to trade. So again, you can see the trade. We only took 2 trades 1 week. And whenever the market got better on Friday, we went for 4 trades, right? All of them were dubs for a total of 12K. This week, we took a total of 4 trades. All of them are wins except for 1 break even. We're going to talk about all the trades first, recap everything. I'm going to tell you exactly how you should be preparing for the next fucking week, guys. And take advantage of this current market we're having. It's absolutely beautiful. But let's go ahead and look through our trades first. So starting off with yesterday. Yesterday was a nice sell-off day. We were in pretty heavy size, but I kind of want to start off with actually the start of the week to kind of see how everything played into each other, right? So coming off on Monday, basically all our setups today were shorts, right? Break retest of demands, and again, the gap fill as well, and things like that. All we wanted to do was follow these bears almost every single day off the open this week. We had either a rally up for a fucking aggressive move down, rally up, aggressive move down pre-market, or just a straight massive sell-off, right? Happened almost every single day this week. Today, honestly, was a tough day. We wanted to take the shorts, couldn't get an entry, but we were absolutely correct in the move. Happens a lot of the times, right? Especially this day, we actually want to take this all the way down. Got stop break even on the runners. We'll talk about every single trade here, but let's start off with a day like Monday. So what we had on Monday, right? And again, y'all have been watching me for a while. Y'all know exactly what I do. If you don't know what I do, we trade supply and demand, order flow, and volume by price analysis, right? I'll just go through my YouTube channel. I have plenty of educational videos that allows you to trade exactly like I do. And I'm going to keep posting way more as time goes on. So make sure you're subscribed. It costs you nothing, completely free. It helps me keep going. It helps me motivate me to keep making these videos for you guys. But what we had here, right? We had a nice demand level here, nice gap demand level. Honestly, let me show you how to draw these. So I will draw these on the 30-minute time frame. So let's go ahead and, I don't want you here. Go ahead and go to Monday. Was this Monday? This was Friday. That massive short we caught on Friday. Look at that beast. Monday right here. So what we actually do is we'll go ahead and draw up our demand levels, right? And then we go on to, I'll draw up all the zones we actually use. So right here we use a supply level. And then for the shorts we took right here, we used a break of demand. So again, all demand. That's the first thing I do is I look at the 4-hour time frame. How's the 4-hour time frame showing us, right? 4-hour time frame is showing us a very bearish market with volume spiking at these lows. Look at the points of control, lower and lower and lower as we go. Next thing we do is find our key levels. We're going to look for, since we're bearish, we're going to look for breaks of demands or bounces off supply. Pretty simple. Then we look at volume. How is volume doing as we're moving up into these levels, right? If we're looking for breakouts, we want to see volume increase. If we're looking for bounces, we want to see volume decrease as we're moving into these levels, okay? Now let's go ahead and hop into the 5-minute time frame and talk about what we did, what our execution was, why we took profits there, everything in between. So first comes to first. Oh, I just want to look at this trade we took on Friday. Oh my fucking, I know. It's fucking beautiful. We took all these trades live with the students. If you want to trade live with me, I'll leave a application link down below. Also a video attached to it so you can kind of see everything we offer. Honestly, I recommend you just watching that video if you're not interested in the mentorship. Talks about the strategy I trade, talks about how I did it, why I did it, and everything in between. But if you're interested in trading live with me, interested in one-on-one mentorships, interested in just having this community that we have, that's honestly a major factor. Like, honestly, bro, I just want to shout out some of the students here that have been absolutely fucking killing it this week. So this is just from today, right? This is just from today. All these are mentorship students. Pause, scroll. These people have been absolute beasts, getting payouts, getting funded, absolute killer on the shorts. First week here, man, smacking bangers. I could scroll all fucking day. But if you want this to be you, make sure you apply down below. But First things first, right? Monday, what happened? Crazy aggressive sell-off. We don't chase. We never chase. We focus on invalidation. What is invalidation? We focus on a level on the chart where if I am wrong, right, price goes to this level, then my thesis of the market going short or long is invalid. That's my main focus. So the market opens. I'm not playing to the open. Nothing like super volatile. Did have a supply level here, but sold off aggressively. Invalidation was at the high here. So off the first candle, literally we had way too much risk. So what do? Let the market sell off. Let it break my key level. Again, everything I do is so specific and so definitive that literally I'm going to do the same thing every day. And if the market moves without me, it moves without me. I don't give a fuck. All I know, to be profitable, I have to do the same thing, repeat the same process every single day, or I will not be profitable in the long run. We get an aggressive break, right? We get an aggressive break of demand right here on this candle. Volume spiked up. Then we get a retest, right? Retest on this next candle that kind of dies out a little bit for a nice move all the way down to this demand level we made the previous day, where we kind of got bought back up from the massive move on Friday. That was the first thing we did, right? So then we entered off of the retest candle, put our stop loss, whatever. I've actually entered on this candle close, but a little bit on to the right. So this actually should get moved a tiny bit. I can actually see what the actual entry was. Yeah, so it was right on the open of this candle, 73. Stop loss right above that last candle, and we took it all the way down to that next demand level, which was from right here, that we ended up invalidating. So it's why I just deleted. But sometimes you'll see once we invalidate a level, a new level is formed. So that's why these levels are super, super strong. If you want to know how to draw these levels, plenty of videos on my YouTube channel teaching you how to draw supply and demand levels. Now, again, right, let's talk about the entry triggers we use for these specific setup. Now, this is going to go back all the way to November 3, right, 10 a.m. Let's go ahead and find that on the order flow. All right, so first things first, let's look at the footprint chart of what happened. We had an aggressive break under the level, right? Dead volume on the retest. Then we had aggressive participants take control, leading the move down. So as soon as this candle closed, even if you look at the book map here, aggressive offers all the way down, came back, exhaustion from buyers off the retest. And for me, whenever I saw these sellers come in and start, so book map a little bit weird now because when you go back a lot of days, it gives you this weird look. We can kind of still get a decent reaction off of it. Saw this guy here get filled. And we took our entry around 10:15-ish, but it was based off the sellers. You can't really see it right now because, again, we go back pretty far on Bookmap. But what I'm doing is something like this. There's plenty of entry triggers on this setup. Looking for, again, exhaustion from buyers, which is the dead volume you saw on footprint charts, aggressive move underneath our key level, then a dead volume tap to retest that level. And then after we do that, you see exhaustion from buyers, I'm looking for a seller to fill a passive buy offer and make a bid below price. Whenever I see this, I'm automatically in. So this happened up here, but again, the book map looks weird. If you want to have good look at book map, what I do is I record my data on a daily basis and I can go back and replay and back test it and it won't look this ugly. But since it's like, 4 days in the past, when you look back at book map, it'll have this ugly look. But again, it can still give us a good idea here. Footprint chart shows it best, but dead volume tap back in the level, a nice close. And when we close, all we did was wait for a seller to fill a passive buy offer and hold below price, and we're automatically in. And we targeted this demand level that we had on ES down here. We already talked about it, that we had this bounce off. So as soon as you typed at the demand level, we targeted. I was actually looking for the 50s, but usually when I'm targeting like a psychological level like the 50s, I like to put my TP like a point above, because we a lot of times like to tease these levels, and it might take some time before actually breaking through. So I usually go like a point above the big psychological levels, basically the zeros or the fives or the hundreds. We just go to a point above. That was that day, right? Beautiful, simple, easy entry. The market then continued to sell off massively, so we were still super bearish. The next day came up and we just ripped right into a pre-market supply level we had that we already talked about, right? Let's look at order flow. So off the open, right, on Tuesday, we started to have a massive move from these buyers. Up, 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 up. Then we see volume start to slowly die out. As we move into supply, again, what do we want to see for a reversal? We want to see volume die out. So we start to see volume slowly die out. Again, obviously after the open, it will die out, but it died out significantly right when we approach supply, which is exactly what we want to see. Again, look how late I was on this entry, right? I was waiting for sellers to step back in after we saw buyers die out. Waiting on this confirmation is absolutely key, right? Waiting on this confirmation is how you're going to be able to be successful when it comes to trading, when you're trading in the long run. So let's go ahead and look at everything we talked about here. So again, volume died out, waited for sellers to step in. Let's look at footprint charts one more time, right? Super aggressive move from buyers, some super crazy delta, dying out to 100, to 700, to 600. The seller hops in, moves the market down, especially when we saw the sell imbalance come into, failed to get tapped into, then seller stepped up. So this is the candle I entered, right? You saw seller step up. Let me show you what it looks like on Bookmap. So, right, first thing that we see here on Bookmap, aggressive move up, buyers disappeared as we tap supply. They disappeared. Then we see aggressive sellers come in and take control, right? Super strong, super obvious. And again, let's look at the take profit level for this trade that we got out at exactly the 27s. Those of y'all may know what I like to target, right, is going to be VWAP. So this little line of VWAP. So as soon as we got down into VWAP, I got out. It would have smacked VWAP, but again, I like to put my take profits a little bit above these levels, like especially these big levels like VWAP, like big psychological levels, just to make sure I get out. If it's at least a 2-to-1 every single time, like we're straight, we're always going to be golden, right? So we got out at VWAP. Again, it's something I do almost every single time we take a trade is out of VWAP, out of liquidity, out of supply and demand. But just keep in terms of the macros here, right? We are super bearish. We tapped into supply. We saw volume die out. Then we saw sellers take over. Watch how common this trigger is for me, right? We want to be aggressive when we were going with the overall 4-hour trend. So again, super simple. The exact same concept as the previous day, but instead of a break retest of demand, usually when we break retest demand, we treat it as supply, right? We broke demand. Now this demand basically becomes supply, and then we instantly get into an entry after the retest. Same thing here. Instead of breaking demand, we just tap supply, right? Pretend this was demand. We broke it, tap back into demand. Same kind of thing. It's just terms, just names, but tap back in, dead volume, entry trigger, target VWAP. We're good to go, right? Remember, break, dead retest, target demand, we're good to go. Same thing, super simple concepts that you can literally pick up and learn. It's not hard. The hard thing is discipline and not chasing, right? The hard part for me on this day was letting the market open, completely rip without me. Most people would have chased and would have made money chasing, but it would have affected you in the long run, would have built bad habits. It wouldn't have been a good thing. So we wait for what we're talking about, right? And every single day I'll post my pre-market plan for the mentorship students, and I only do what the plan says. If the plan didn't say go long here, even after the market ripped like crazy, I'm not fucking going long. I'm following my plan. Now, next day, market opened, right? Again, I was very bearish. Market pumps like crazy. I don't take a trade. Why? Because it wasn't part of my plan. And again, this is something you'll see me do all the time, and this is why I've been able to stay alive and be successful in the market for so long, because I don't chase, right? I see the market pump like crazy, doesn't follow my bias, doesn't follow my plan, so I don't chase. I sit on my hands, and I don't do nothing. If there's no entry trigger, right? Today, for example, right, we were super, super bearish. We retested my level, but there wasn't a single entry trigger, right? We had a demand right here that we retested, tapped V up perfectly, but I didn't see an entry trigger. I saw the entry trigger way too late where my risk would have been like 15, 17 points. So what I do, I don't take the trade. I'm up almost 40K this week. Why would I risk my money on a super, super risky play? I'm not going to. I don't care what the market's doing because I know the market will be there tomorrow. The market will be there the next day. I'm not going to be dumb and lose my money on something where there's too much risk, no matter how good the setup looks. The risk to reward will trump everything. So if the play has too much risk, no matter how good the trigger looks, no matter how good everything looks, I'm just not going to take the setup. So it's super, super simple on that point. Now, the next day, which was yesterday, we had the same exact thing happen. I actually took a pre-market play first because the setup was just so perfect pre-market. We had an aggressive break, retest, right? The market opened, stopped me out, break even. Then we retested my broken demand again for a perfect entry. This could have not been much perfect. Like, only issue with this trade is we were targeting demand right here, and I had some runners because I knew the market would sell off. But we got stopped out, break even from our runners, and the market just continued to dump like crazy. Still took out 10K. Should have been like a 20, 30K day for me. But again, market decided to take me out, break even, and I didn't chase. Like, okay, I took my 10 grand. No entry afterwards. I'm not going to chase. I'm going to do the same thing I do every single day, which allows me to be profitable in the long run. So that's what we did. Let's go look at order flow for this setup right here. All right, the footprint charts are showing us a beautiful aggressive break pre-market, about 10K, like almost tripled in volume, to be honest. Pretty good negative delta for the volume, right? The average volume. Weak retest. So this is our first entry right here, right? These buyers pushing up with dead volume. Let's look at bookmap. All right, so yesterday, what did we see? Saw the aggressive break, exhaustion on the retest, and then sellers take back control for an entry. We saw this twice, right? The market then opened, right? So the first entry was here, exhaustion, seller filling the aggressive offer. We do this every single time. Market opened, right? Stopped us out, break even. Then we see exhaustion again. Then the seller take control for an entry. Again, super simple. Every single time we're doing the same thing. And you can tell, right? Market opened, dead volume, sellers took control. So we grabbed an entry. Simple. And then our target was this pre-market demand right here, right? This consolidation before the massive move up. I'll show you what this looks like on the 30-minute time frame for this exact entry right here. What do we have? A nice little bit of a demand. And this was our first target, right? Absolutely perfect. We'll do this again every single time. So we took a 10-point move with heavy size. We're pretty much decent size all week. But again, look at the similarities between every single one of these setups. We were patient. We don't chase. We wait for good invalidation. We wait for good entry triggers. We wait for good risk-reward ratios, and we don't chase the rest. You're going to have a much better time trying to catch a small piece instead of hitting home runs. It's very unlikely to hit home runs back to back to back. You're going to end up burning yourself end up being in profit a lot of points and getting stopped out in the red if you try to catch the whole move. You have a better chance catching your small trade, your small position, and then leaving some on the table for everybody else, guys. Let me just tell you something. The main goal for most of y'all is to be copy trading 10, 30, 40 accounts. With my mentorship students, I set them on a path, right? I'm like, okay, one account, and the goal is by this week to have this payout and copy trade this amount of accounts. Slowly we build up accounts because the end goal is to have trade copiers going with 40, 50 accounts where a 10-point move will be tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket, literally tens of thousands of dollars. So that's why I tell everybody to go for those small moves. Good 2-to-1 R&R. Go for these small moves, and then they will stack up. Once you have, I know at the start it's slow because you don't have that many accounts, but think of the long-term end goal. Once you have all your accounts set up and ready to go, these small moves will pay out like crazy. And this is some people can't wait for that. Some people have one account and they want to make billions of dollars super, super fast. So they just get greedy and they end up burning themselves, which is absolutely dumb. Some people don't have confidence in their setups, right? Because they don't have it back test. They don't have someone that's been doing it for a long time to tell them and show them like, hey, this works. Just do this every single day. And you have no idea how much that will actually help you out. Now let's talk about how we can prep for next week, right? How we can prep for the rest of the month. Market is still super, super bearish. What we just did today was close, or we're about to close underneath a pretty strong 4-hour demand. The longer time from the demand, the stronger it actually is. So after we do that, we don't have much liquidity until we come down into these 59s, into these 600s. So if we aggressively close into this demand next week, all I'm gonna be watching for us to do is to continue to sell off, right? Meaning that, watch what we have here. So my plan, if this closes underneath this 4-hour demand, go on a 30-minute time frame. Let's go ahead and give us a couple more days on here. And then look to see if down here we have any demands we can look for. We have one right here to break retest for a move into liquidity down here. So we just bouncing off this demand. So if you close underneath these 40s, I'm going to be aggressively looking for shorts into these 90s. Simple. This is what we did this week. This is what we're going to do next week. If we start to pull back up above this 4-hour demand, I'm going to look for aggressive closes above any supplies we made, right? For a move back up into resting liquidity, which if we close above this one, we have liquidity right here. We have liquidity right here. So we'll be super, super aggressive, right? And again, we're not targeting liquidity. Why not? Because again, if we were going long into this level, what do we have first? We have nice supply. So instead of targeting liquidity, to be on the safe side, I will target the start of supply. Now, since this level is now invalidated, since we just put in a new low, another A+ setup for me will be us actually retesting the supply we made today for a move back down into new liquidity we just made right here. So if we pump up into this level, right, again, super simple, we start climbing to this level, we start to see volume die out as we're climbing into this level. I'm going to look for shorts targeting liquidity right here. Same thing we did this week, same thing we'll do next week, and look at why. Look at the 4-hour chart. The trend is your fucking friend. The trend will always be your friend. We're super bearish. Follow the trend, right? Just look overall. Look at the overall time frame. The market tends to be in a trend way longer on average, and it tends to break a trend, guys. So hopefully this video could help you guys understand a little bit of how to trade the market. Leave any comments you have, any questions you have down below. I'll get back to all of them. If you have any video ideas you want to see, something new you want to see, maybe a concept you want me to teach that I haven't taught you yet here, everything I'm going to be doing on YouTube is going to be for you guys to learn. I'm going to be very heavy on YouTube for the rest of the year. I know a lot of you guys get a ton of help, honestly, I've seen so many of y'all make money just from my YouTube videos, which honestly blows my mind. I'll leave my Instagram link down below. I do post a lot of educational stuff on Instagram, a lot of funny stuff, lifestyle stuff as well if y'all are interested. But without further ado, guys, I appreciate y'all being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.